Hey, this is Blake from the Gig Harbor Fly Shop, and welcome to this episode of the Gig Harbor Fly Cast. Now, if you've ever stepped foot into our shop, you probably have met Doug. Doug has been on staff with us now for probably 6 years and is our shop manager. He's there quite a bit and he's super helpful, loves to help customers, and I'm guessing if you've been in the shop, he has helped you out. Today, I sit down with Doug and we have a great conversation about a couple fish that he caught for the first time very recently. But before we jump into that conversation, I want to let you know about just a couple things really quick. And the first one is our Intro to Fly Fishing class. We have taught thousands of people how to fly fish, and our Intro to Fly Fishing class last year got a massive upgrade. We used to just do an in-person class and it was like drinking from a fire hose. But now we've set it up with an online platform that walks you through 4 hours of content that you can do at your own pace. And then once you finish the video series with all of that information, there's an opportunity to sign up for a group class that's in person. We meet at the shop for the group class. It's a 3-hour class. We go down to the park. We work on casting, but also we get to work on some other really important presentation techniques and skills. It's a great way to learn how to fly fish if you have not taken any sort of thing like that in the past. Just trying to learn off of YouTube can be really frustrating as you just search around looking for information. We have it all right here in one spot. The class starts at just $50, so check that out. The information is on our website. We have links in the show notes as well as the description on YouTube. If you are listening to this podcast episode on a podcast app, I just want to let you know that we video all of these as well, and they are on our channel on YouTube, so you can check out the video feature as well. Or if you're on YouTube and you want to download it on your favorite podcast app, hey, by all means. We just want to be helpful and get you stoked to be out on the water. We have taught so many anglers this year about spey casting. I don't know what the deal was. We usually have quite a few anglers, but this year it was like 2 or 3 times back in November, in December, and January. We had so many different classes. Well, I'm assuming that there's still some other people out there that didn't get a chance to jump into those classes with us. And so we have some intro to spey casting classes coming up very soon. So make sure to check out our website for that information. Okay, and now without any more delay, let's jump into our conversation with Doug Foust. Hey, welcome to this episode of the Gig Harbor Flycast, and I'm sitting down with Doug Foust, and he's our shop manager. And recently, he went to Mexico with us, and so wanted to chat with him about some firsts that he had out fishing. And so, Doug, welcome to the podcast. Like, this is great having you on it. It's kind of weird because a lot of times I get to sit down and interview different guests that I don't get to see that often or really know that well or anything like that. But Doug and I spend a lot of time together, and so yeah, so it's great to have you. So March, we were just talking about this. March was an incredible month because you got to check a couple boxes of fish that you have never caught before. So maybe, I don't know, we can kind of go sequential through this thing. So tell us about some of these events that happened in March for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, thank you for having me for one. And yeah, I mean, I got to go to Mexico for the second time. So I'd already caught a tarpon on the last trip to Hobosh. And that was my first tarpon, my first introduction to tropical saltwater fishing. And then this time, I mean, there were a lot of firsts this time. I caught my first ladyfish. I got shots at permit, which was something I did not expect, and something as an angler I was like, I didn't think I'm on that level yet, and I mean, I was showed I'm not, but it was an awesome experience, and it was really cool to just see those fish, and I got to see one get caught.
Yeah.
So that was really cool. And then I got my first bonefish on this trip. And that, I mean, for one, just seeing the pod of bonefish that we're casting to was cool to get to see what that was like in real life. And then to have that fish take the fly. And I mean, both you and the guide were just set. And like, as soon as the line went tight, it just took off. And like, I mean, that I haven't had any other fish I've caught do that. Just that straight beeline away from you, just ripping line off the reel on a 9 weight with the drag set, and yeah,
it was a good sized bonefish too.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that makes that fish even more special is that in Hobosch is really known for tarpon fishing, and there's snook there, there's Jack Crevalle, but it's not. There's permit there as well, but it's not known as a bonefish fishery. That there's not really a lot of bonefish there. They had been overfished by commercial fishing and pretty much had been wiped out. And now they're just kind of starting to come back. And so it was really cool to actually find bonefish on a flat that was not that far from Hobosch. It wasn't outward like they typically go fish for permit, which is like an hour boat ride away. It was a little bit closer in, and to see those fish even a couple days in a row, that was really cool because it wasn't just like one school of bonefish. There was multiple different schools of bonefish, and it's just amazing how hard a bonefish pulls for how small they are, right?
It's amazing. It was the same thing with the jacks the first trip. Like that little fish, but that forked tail, they just go, and it was crazy. The first one of those I caught too, because the first one I caught I couldn't even see. And so it had the 10 weight bent over, and I'm like, I have a snook. Yeah, I have a snook or a tarpon on. No, it's 10-inch jack. But yeah, those are cool too. And I saw probably a 25-pound one get missed this time. But it was so cool to see that fish, and it was following a ray.
The jack.
Yeah, the same way the permit were following the rays.
It's pretty cool.
Like the ray did a couple circles, so my boat partner got a couple shots at it, but it didn't want the fly. So
pretty cool. Well, with bonefish, a lot of times when people are brand new to bone fishing, we've had them come in the shop, and I've talked to them, and they're like, "This is my first trip. I'm going bone fishing. Is it okay if I bring a 6 weight?" And you can catch a 6 weight you can catch a bonefish on a 6 weight. But typically the flies are weighted and they're a little bit larger. Not really anything outside of what we would fish for sea run cutthroat trout. But it's usually a little bit of a longer cast. You're throwing into the wind. So even, those fish we got were not huge bonefish. I mean, they were nice, but like bonefish can get pretty big, but those were even on a 9 weight, right? Yeah. And so I think, really like the secret sweet spot, I think, for bonefish is really that 7 to 8 weight territory. But, when you have a fish just ripping drag, it kind of doesn't matter what the rod is, because it's just going to pull.
Yeah. Yep. And I think there would have been wind conditions a few times where you would have felt under gun with that 6 weight. Like what we were using was right. Like, right. Especially to make the cast as quick as we needed to make them.
So ladyfish, you caught a ladyfish on that trip as well. First time you caught a ladyfish, and a lot of people don't know what a ladyfish are, and I think they remind me of milkfish. I think they might be related to a milkfish. I'm not sure, but our guide, he talks about, he calls them the Yucatan tarpon.
Yeah, or Mayan tarpon.
The Mayan tarpon. That's what he calls it.
Yeah.
Mayan tarpon. And they jump like a tarpon. They shake their head and all that kind of stuff. I think they respond to the fly and chase the fly a little bit faster than a tarpon does. They're definitely easier to catch, but it's fun to catch a couple of them and then to move on,
Yeah, they're a cool fish just to catch. There was a lot of stuff that was cool there that I would have just wanted to cast to, like even the little barracuda that you're seeing everywhere. It'd be cool to catch a few of them and then be like, okay, let's move on. Yeah,
well, once you've caught like a table length barracuda, like a 3 or 4 footer, then you see those other ones and you're like, you just don't even want anything to do with it. You just want one of the big ones.
Barracudas those are smolt instead of
yeah, right. They're the babies. The barracuda are definitely an over or underrated game fish for sure. Like, it's amazing how many people have no interest in trying to catch them, but a large cuda on the flats is awesome. Man, they jump and go crazy and they fight hard, and they can be tricky at times to be able to get to eat. Okay, well, enough about kudos. So March, you caught other fish. What was the other fish that you caught that has been a long time coming?
Yeah, going from tropical then to the Olympic Peninsula, I landed my first steelhead on the swing this March.
Yeah, last week. It's like a 60-degree temperature change. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, big temperature change. I mean, weather was, typical of the OP, and we got to see a little bit of it all: rain, hail, mist, little sun too, and then snow. But yeah, I started spay fishing 6 years ago, and this, this was
You've hooked some,
yeah,
broken some off, or just lost them. But this one we finally got in the net. And the interesting thing about this fish too was, here we are late March on the peninsula, and it was a hatchery fish.
Yeah, chrome like he had just entered the river.
Because she was still full of eggs, and we saw another guide pass us, Jim, and we yelled out to him, Jim, we got a hatchery steelhead, and it's a bright one. He's like, so did we. He holds up this fish, and it is kind of nice that yours was bigger.
Yeah, that's why I had to hold mine up too.
Yeah, there you go. But yeah, kind of wild to see some hatchery fish out on the peninsula in later March. I'm curious to talk to the biologists out there about that. Just from a conservation perspective, there's the issue of wild fish and hatchery fish and them spawning together, and so I'm pretty sure that those fish aren't going to go back to the hatchery. Like, they're going to want to tango before then, or in a different part of the river system or something like that. But yeah, so fish on the swing, like, what was that experience like?
Oh, it was cool. I mean, I've done the trout spay game a bit and caught a bunch of fish that way, and it was similar to that, but also not. Like, I thought I was hung up for the second time in that run, and then a little bit of line came off the drag, and I'm like, well, a rock doesn't do that. And then it just started going, and then I lifted, and as soon as I lifted, that was the first time he jumped, and I got to see him out of the water, and I was like, oh, nice. Okay, that's a steelhead. Like, yeah. I'm good. I just have to keep him on now.
Well, and you did everything right, because just after guiding so many different people swinging flies, for people that haven't done it before, and this is the same issue we run into down in Mexico, right? Like, where the fish eats and people want to just lift the rod up and do a trout set right away, and with tarpon fishing, you don't want a trout set, and the guide lets you know.
Yeah.
But on the swing, it's the same thing, right? We really want that fish. We want that fish to take the fly and turn on it, and we want to allow that fly to really set into the corner of the mouth as that fish is moving back downstream before we just kind of swing to the bank to get tight to it. We don't want to just do a quick jerk lifting the rod up. I remember the very first steelhead I landed, the fish was hooked just right on the lip. I can't even believe that I actually landed the thing. But looking back at that experience years ago, I hooked that fish right there on the front of the lip, right on the nose, because I trout set on the thing. I'm sure. I'm trying to remember back. I don't really remember what actually all happened, but I didn't wait for that fish just to turn on it before kind of swinging downstream. I must have lifted up on it and hooked that fish. So steelhead on the swing, and now the season closes. So now you're gonna have to. It closes tomorrow, actually. So now you're gonna have to wait a little bit to maybe get your next one on the swing. But what are some things that you're looking forward to coming up this spring, summer, maybe even into the fall? As we have, you've already kind of checked a couple things off the box that are pretty cool fishing wise for 2023, and 2023 has just started. You kind of have plenty of time this summer to do some other cool stuff. So what are you looking forward to?
Well, since my time out here, I really haven't taken full advantage of a pink year, and this year is a pink year. So I plan on doing that, plan on taking the kayaks out. I've had customers offer a place on their boat, so I might take advantage of that too. Yeah. but yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I've tied some topwater stuff. I want to mess around with catching them on different presentations, and that's definitely, and we're supposed to have a really good coho year, so like I definitely plan on being out in the kayaks for that. I have a guided trip in Montana planned for June.
Is that on the Blackfoot?
I don't know if I can say where that one's going to be.
Spot.
Yeah.
Secret spot. Okay.
It's a Spring Creek.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. And that's with your dad?
Yep. That'll be with my dad.
Right on.
Yeah. That'll be some dry fly fishing, which will be awesome.
Yeah.
Like look forward to that challenge every year. I do far less of it here in Washington.
Right.
I do definitely. I'm going to get out there and I'm going to strip set on a dry fly instead of drop set.
Yeah, you're gonna have like 40 pounds of the dry fly setting the hook on them, and yeah, no, salmon fishing, I'm really looking forward to that as well. And numbers have come out recently. Now I did review the numbers that from the estimates and then the actual from this last year, and it's the numbers are all over the board, and so it's kind of hard to even I don't know, like have any expectation of reality with when you see the numbers. But what that does mean is that there will be fishing season and opportunity. And so pinks looks like we're supposed to get about 4 million pinks back to Puget Sound this year. Coho looks like it's about a 10% bump over coho from last year. Kings, it looks like they're pretty much on par, maybe a slight little bump. And so Puget Sound, there's going to be a lot of fishing opportunity for those fish. They don't have numbers for chums out quite yet. And then on the coast, Washington coast, looks like numbers are going to be really good out there as well. So I think it's indicative of ocean conditions right now that, would be my guess. I would love to talk to a biologist to hear a little bit more about how they're setting those numbers and why they're estimating those numbers to be up. But I'm excited about it. We love to chase those things all summer. So, yeah, it'll be fun to be able to get out. Hopefully you'll bring me along fishing for pinks in the kayaks.
Yeah.
Like if you'll have me.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'll bring some beer or something.
Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah. Well, I hope you enjoyed that conversation with Doug. Next time you're in the shop and you see him, give him a hard time about something. I don't know. Before you go, I just want to have a quick little reminder for our Fly of the Month subscription program. If you haven't heard about Fly of the Month yet, it's pretty incredible. Our Fly of the Month subscription program ships you flies every month, and you get flies for either freshwater or Puget Sound saltwater, or you can do a combination of both. We also send along an email that explains how to fish those flies with presentation, but we also talk about where to go. We give you spots on where to go fish. The flies are for that next month. So this is a great way to know what is biting when and what to use. So this we're just trying to help people out by doing this. It eliminates a lot of guesswork. And also, if you're new, you just need to have an inventory of flies that are effective, and this is a great way to start building up that inventory. So check out our website for Fly of the Month information, and hopefully you'll sign up. We also do a giveaway every single month as well. So you this next month will be our lucky winner with a bunch of free stuff. Thanks for joining us today on the Gig Harbor Fly Cast. If you haven't subscribed yet on your podcast app or on YouTube, make sure you subscribe so you get notified about all the other episodes that we have coming out. Thanks.